Welcome to the podcast, Working Drummer. Dynamic interviews that tell you everything you need to know about being a professional drummer and a few things you may not want to know. Produced by Mike Jackson and hosted by myself, Matthew Krause. Mike's been awesome, man, helping me get all this stuff together.
We got Mike on audio video, guys. You aren't seeing Mike because he's behind the camera. He's just one of those guys. He's really modest, but he is handsome as shit. Hey, but no, that's the thing is that people just think, well, this is a small level gig. I'm just going to mail this in. You're shooting yourself in the foot because it's the small gigs that lead to the big ones.
Oh, yeah.
So if you treat the small gigs like Madison Square Garden, you will play Madison Square Garden eventually. You know, I wanted to play Madison Square Garden when I was 25 years old.
That's going to be your quote, man.
Didn't happen until I was 42. But I didn't give up. And I kept moving forward, you know.
Yeah. There's been a couple podcasts you've done in the past and interviews, and I know that people can access them, and they've probably heard them already, but I didn't want to get too far in without just giving some quick background on where you're from, how you got into drums.
Sure.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of time with that because I think it's been covered.
Hey, people don't care. They're like, what are you doing right now?
Well,
no, that's the world we live in. It's like, instant gratification. It's like, all right, what are you doing? What have you done the last 5 years?
It is. Well, I think because when you hear somebody's story and how they got involved, it makes it relatable. Mm-hmm. At least in my opinion, it just kind of gives them something to relate to. Like, yeah, man, that's how I got started. That's how I did it. Yeah. Or I had this great teacher. Or I had no teacher. Or I had this and that. And this is. Oh, if he's done that, then that kind of inspires them.
I can do that too, which is totally true. You can do anything you want to do. But I mean, I started playing in like '76. I'm from Milford, Connecticut, small town in Connecticut, and I went through I had a great teacher named Jack Berge, and I got the Gladstone pad and the little blue sparkle snare drum, and we were working through Joel Rothman books. He was teaching me my 5-stroke rolls and my flams, and then I got a little kick drum and a little cymbal, and I was doing some more Rothman books and playing with Queen records and Kiss records, and then we moved to Texas when I was 11, and Texas is an amazing music education state, so I joined the band in the 5th grade, and I did 5th band through 5th and through 12th grade, and I did everything the school had. So I was playing in choir. I was, backing up choirs. I was doing a symphonic band, pep band, a marching band, and then I did the same thing in college. And I ended up getting a 4-year degree in percussion and music education from Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas. There's nothing to do there but practice. And then I went to the University of North Texas, which was one of the first schools to have a jazz degree. And of course, the lab band programs there. I was fortunate enough. My goal of mine was to play in the 1 o'clock lab band because a lot of drummers that I really admired had come from there. Guys like Steve Houghton and Ray Brinker and Greg Bissonette. And, so I was at the school the same time with Blair Cinta from Alanis Morissette's band, Keith Carlock from, Sting, the Blues Brothers, and Steely Dan. And I knew he was going to change the world. And just some other really just fantastic game-changing drummers. I knew that they were all going to go to New York and L.A. and do their thing. I'm more of an LA guy over New York. I mean, I like the sunshine, that whole thing. And so when I was 26, I said to myself, I'm going to move to Los Angeles. And I was like preparing myself to head out there. And I got some auditions here in Nashville. 3 auditions in 3 back-to-back weeks with Dina Carter, Barbara Mandrell, and Trisha Yearwood. And it always came down to me and another guy. And the other guy always lived in Nashville. I was still living in Dallas, Texas.
Right, I remember this, yeah.
That's it, dude. No one knows me in Los Angeles. A couple of people have said that they enjoyed my drumming in Nashville. Dina Carter came out with a record called Strawberry Wine. It's just kind of like Linda Ronstadt, California cool, pop, country. I can do this. Yeah. And so I gave my band 2 weeks' notice, and I moved here. And if this was in 1997, which was after the big country boom, Alan Jackson Gone Country craze. And so Nashville was kind of like it was shedding its cocoon. It was trying to figure out what it was going to do next. And, so I came here with a box of cassette demos, 400 cassette demos. I moved here on a Tuesday. I had a gig with a society band, but on Saturday, and was waiting tables. And I had my master's degree, so I think I got paid $70 a day to substitute teach. And so, Jim Riley and I, from the Drummer for the Last Five, we're living together, and he's hustling gigs, and he got the Mark Chestnut gig, and I was playing with a guy named Rick Orozco, who I still is a dear friend. He's very involved with the Grammys and the Latin Grammys in Texas. And we went to, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 countries together, South Korea and Dubai and Egypt and Greece. And we played, for the troops, we played New Year's Eve 1999 in Iceland. Like, just crazy places I would never have gone had I not met Rick. And so I would say probably for the first 8 years in Nashville, just hustling, taking anything I could possibly take, and then supplementing with a day job. Because, for the folks out there, the pay scale in Nashville, I'm just going to pull back the curtain, is not as strong as some of the other cities. But I think it's a result of, it's never been about the musicians in Nashville. It's always been about the front person. This is not a band town. It's always about who's standing up front. Those guys in the back, man, they're interchangeable to work for peanuts.
Yeah, everyone wear black.
Black. That's changed, thank God.
It has changed, yeah.
In 1997, it was, I want everybody in black.
Yeah. You there behind the drums.
Interesting, yeah. And now... and I think the pay scale was also a result of the cost of living here. I mean, we're like it's kind of like middle America. Like, it was very affordable. Of course, now we've got a massive boom happening where massive skyscraper condos are going up, martini bars, there's valet stands poking up all over the place. You can't find a place to park. This is a little big town. This is like, it's a city. I mean, we are on the map. We have sushi, man.
So how is
barbecue sushi?
So, as a result, are we going to see a change in that dynamic, or is
I think it's going to be a good change, because with people coming from New York, LA, Atlanta are bringing their multicultural outlook on life and their musical stylings, and it's affecting our music. At the same time,
is it going to affect our paycheck?
It could go up. It could go up, because, and that's what I started a little musicians referral service, and I haven't gone crazy like here's the website and everything, but I call it Musomatch, and I'm going to build musomatch.net, and it's basically, my whole goal is to have quality musicians that I send out, and one of my goals is to get the pay up for musicians. Yeah, I want the perception of musicians, what they bring to the table, the value that musicians bring, and their pay scale to move up. And I'm not really speaking for myself, because I have one of the few gigs in town that is one of the things where it's like, wow, okay, I can have a quality lifestyle here. It didn't happen overnight. I'm on year 18. Right. But, I'm not complaining about my pay scale, but when I hear about, like, oh my God, so this person has a major label record deal with one single out and they're paying what? Yeah. Or you just did a showcase for the biggest label in town and they wanted to pay you what? No. Right. Come through my referral service. I'm going to send you the greatest musicians for that job, like a casting agent that are perfect for that job, and you're getting paid that day before you walk on stage. Right. You're not going to be invoicing a record label for 6 months later. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just one of the many little things that I do, but it's just a little way you can kind of like create change in the world.
What is it that motivates you to do so much outside of, you got this great gig? Admit it, you say, look, I've got one of the few nice paying gigs, play with this. I mean, you've had numerous number one hits that you've played on the record. People know who you are. Well, they know Jason Aldean. What is your motivation to do more than just play drums for Jason Aldean? Because, I mean, we could spend a good amount of time talking about all the different things that you've done.
You know, you have this thing that's
You're avoiding the question, Rich.
It's in the back of your mind. No, I'm gonna come full circle. You have this thing in the back of your mind, like I've seen every episode of Three's Company. Okay, now, like, granted, this is like
we're recording, right?
I'm an old guy. Okay. I've seen every episode a million times. Jack Tripper, Chrissy. I love the format.
All the different
of
Chrissys?
The sitcom. The sitcom. 22 minutes. Create a problem, solve the problem, hilarity ensues, 8 minutes of commercials.
Are you a Furley or a Roper?
A Furley. all the way, all the way. And well, I was doing the American Music Awards, not the American. We were doing there's so many CMAs. It was the CMA Awards in Dallas. And the stage manager, I started talking to him. Turns out he had also been in TV, like drama and comedy. Mm-hmm. He was one of the main guys for Three's Company. So we started talking about it. I was like, oh my God, he gave me his number. He says, yeah, we're going to go get some fish tacos. Let me know when you're in LA. I'll tell you all about it. So I've always wanted to somehow, like my secret career fantasy is to be on a sitcom.
You came pretty close this last week, didn't you?
I want to do a little acting. So here I am. Everybody makes why does he make so many faces when he plays the drums? Dude, I mean,
man, it's got a little Vin Diesel going on. I mean, if you can't see the darkness.
This is amazing. This is so fun. They gave me a toy gun. They covered me in blood. Action, cameras.
Yeah.
The whole Hollywood experience, man. I made a movie.
Yes.
And I was with all these other SAG actors, pros.
Yeah.
They had no idea it was my first acting gig. They're like, I was like, this is my first job, guys. And they're like, yeah, that's funny. And I was like, no, this is my first job. They would have never known. So I over prepared. I worked on my lines for like 6 months. I developed my character. I had an idea of what I wanted him to wear.
Yeah.
And for those 48 hours that I was there, I was so focused on getting this job done and interacting.
Did you take any acting lessons or anything like that?
Got some direction, from some people, but I also the guy that hired me, he said, I don't want you. I think your too many lessons are going to ruin why I want you on this film.
Yeah,
he says, I want you to just be yourself.
Right.
Just bring that thing to the table. Mm-hmm. And now I kind of got the bug, and I'm thinking, okay, I can do this. So on the 30th of this month, in 2 weeks, I'm going to like the best headshot photographer in Los Angeles, and I'm going. I'm going for this shit.
Now, see, the thing about the podcast, which has been fun, is it's not what I do. I play drums.
Yeah.
So it's like I really don't know what I'm doing. And Mike has experience with voiceover, working with voiceover actors, and he's been giving... I love
voiceover. The new Hardee's Thick Burger. You know what I mean? Because like in the 70s, it was like, buy now. The new Hardee's Thick Burger was all happy, and now it's like, do it. We've got the meat.
Okay, yeah.
That sounds fun.
Well, the thing that's been fun about this is I don't really know what I'm doing, and I don't really care.
You're learning on the job.
Right. With drums, I'm like, oh man, people know me. I've got to do this. I've got to do this right, and I'm going to prepare. Now I'm going to prepare for this, and like you say, everything that you do, like getting ready for you work on your lines. You took some direction to over prepare to enjoy the process. But was it how did it fare in comparison to playing drums? I mean, was it more fun? Or did you feel like this? Like, hey, look, I'm not really an actor, so whatever.
It wasn't more fun. It was just like, it was an out-of-body experience, because when sometimes you have these moments, you're like, I am covered in blood, and I have a gun, and I have to walk around this corner. Action. Hit my mark. Interact with these other people. Make it believable. You're just pretending. You know what I mean?
I know you're playing.
It was so fun, but I never for a moment said, I don't belong here. As a matter of fact, I said, this is one of the many things that I can do. It's another outlet for creative expression.
Yes.
And there was a reason why I was there, and the people that were around me said, we've got this other movie that we're going to try to get funded. We need $3 million, but do you want to play the younger boyfriend for this older lady? And I said,
is it Harold Maude Part 2?
I said, dude, I'm in. So like, this is like this whole other fun and exciting thing, which it just allows you to explore, your humanity and be creative. And then when I come back to the drums, it's all the more special, because let's face it, like doing the drums since 1976, like I never ever mail it in, and I never take it for granted. But at the same time, if you don't break it up, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just doing another stadium today, I don't ever let that happen, because at the back of my mind, it kicks in. It's like, dude, you're playing a freaking stadium. It took so long to get here.
Yeah.
But just by breaking it up and doing some other things, when you come back to the drums, it's so special, because you realize, like, ooh, this feels really good, because I've been away from it for a week.
Yeah. Well, and that's so. I mean, my question was, all these other projects that you've gotten involved with that are within the spectrum of music.
Yeah. Music is the umbrella. all these things relate.
Yes. So acting is just as relatable as like the New Voice Entertainment group that you work with.
Yeah. Like New Voice is a production company we've had for almost 8 years. So it's like Kurt Allison, Tully Kennedy, and David Fanning, and everybody, like individually, has great accomplishments. Now, David has his first single out. He has a record deal. Collectively, when we get together, it's a really special thing. As a matter of fact, like, I don't want to make it sound like we're trying to carve out our piece of history, but for whatever reason, we are the first rhythm section production team in the history of Nashville. Nashville has always just been a producer, a guy that comes in and he calls the A team or the B team, or he calls his favorite people. Like
the A team could be multiple drummers, but he's going to pick.
Yeah.
He's going to assemble a team.
And we just said, we are the production. We are producing from the studio floor together. And it starts with having that strong rhythm section, creating that foundation. And then, because there's two ways that people cut in Nashville. You can cut where you strip it down, where there's a rhythm section. And then what we do is we'll bring in our favorite keyboard player, steel player, and acoustic player. And we do another overdub session where they add the icing on our cake. But it's the session with our cake is where we really spend a lot of time trying to reinvent the wheel. And sometimes I'll come back to playing the first beat that we play an hour earlier, but we have the time to explore.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's another way that people track in Nashville, which is what we call I call it the Nashville Orchestra. There's an orchestra on the damn floor. It's a bass, drums, 2 electrics, an acoustic guy, a steel player, and a keyboard player, and everybody. It's harder to work in that scenario to create something really, really special because the music has changed. Like in 1997, it was like, it was a little bit more that thing.
Yes.
And there was like a science to it.
Yes.
And now that all these other influences are coming and we're trying to reinvent the wheel, there's pop elements and there's loops and things are being gridded, and sometimes you just need more time. I mean, you know what I mean? And for me, as a session musician working for other people, the most time I've ever had to do anything is I did a Steel Magnolia record with Dan Huff, and we did 3 hours a song. And that is like living life. I mean, that's like really tearing apart the structure, coming back to things.
That's a fun record, by the way.
Rehearsing
I have
sections.
that record.
Oh, dude, thank you.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Experiment with the snare drums. You can then overdub percussion right there at that session. It's a lot of time. The other model is what we do with Aldean. We cut a song every 90 minutes. But in our defense, that Michael Knox is such an amazing song man. He's Jason's producer. He picks amazing songs and like world-class songs. Like these songs, they practically play themselves. And it's just a matter of executing and getting a great performance that everybody can agree with. And then you go down that scale, and there's all of us that are in the trenches that do demos. And there's new guys in town, and some of them have been on the show. But guys like Miles McPherson and Jerry Rowe and Nir Z and Dorian Crozier and all these guys. There's in the last 4 years that I haven't been doing, for whatever reason. I've been trying to write songs, so I haven't been doing demo sessions. But now there's all these new drummers, world-class drummers that are here in town. And that model is you do one song every 30 minutes or less. So you're hearing a song for the first time, and you have to have so much instinct to go, okay, so maybe the songwriter goes, all right, think John Mayer's second record. Okay, and you go, oh, I don't have that one, but I know I have the first one. Okay, and then you pick out a snare drum, and then, okay, is there a loop? No, we've got the loop. Okay, send me the loop. And then I'm thinking, okay, let's get this, and I've got to execute on the first or second pass. And then when the guitar players are overdubbing, I'm going to throw on a tambourine. And and we're short on time, so I don't think I could do a full maraca pass and a full tambourine pass. So I'm going to have I'll put a towel on the floor, Tom, and do my maracas on the verse, and then bail out quick enough to get.
Right, to have that.
Do it in one pass.
Yeah, sure.
And you really have to be a good judge of quality control for yourself, because once you play something, it is there forever.
Right.
It's a record of your performance.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't have control. I mean, we don't know if they're going to line things up or grid it or leave it, or if they're going to add samples. You have no idea what's going to happen. But you know what? It's not your business. Your business is to just emote and give that person the best product performance that you can possibly do. And that's the job. And that's what I tell my students, is that you think that you're so special You are always going to be working in service of a song, in service of an artist, in service of a producer, in service of a record label. You're like the lower man on the totem pole. You're playing. This is a musical service. It's like almost like saying, "Fries? You want fries with that?" I mean, really, that's what we do. It's awesome. It's an awesome life because we're not actually saying, "Do you want fries with that?" I've done that, but still, it is a service unless you have your own band. Like my friend Fred, who plays with Cowboy Mouth. It's his band. He's the front man. He's up front. So he calls the shots, and he's like, "I don't like that guitar tone. I don't like that bass that you're dragging." You know, it's his product, and it's a lot of responsibility because
right. That is the thing. You do carry less responsibility. At the end of the day, you come in, you do your thing, you take direction, and sometimes with the right attitude, then you can utilize that. Be creative within your element. But then, especially, I mean, if you're not in the production area like you're in, but just strictly playing the role as drummer on a demo session or on any type of recording where that's your job is to come in and play drums and some percussion, you're done.
Yeah, you got to take direction.
Right. You're done, and sometimes it's so funny because sometimes there's recordings you do where you're the first person to be putting the part down, and you're the last person to get to hear it. You know, hey, remember that recording you did? Remember that CD you played on a year or 2 years ago? Here's a copy.
We finally got the budget together to get it mixed.
Right.
And you're like, wow, I don't even play like that anymore. I would have done that differently. You know, there's very seldom do I hear something where I go, I am so happy with not only the performance and the players and the songs and the mix. Like, to have all those things come together, like, I am so proud of this. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when you're a session musician, the vocal is either going to be not good or it's mixed way too hot, or some of the players in the band weren't the greatest, or the songs. We got amazing performances of really bad songs.
I don't want to get too far from that, though, again, because I want people to understand.
I think John Hull pulled up. My drum tech, it's his birthday today. John Hull, we've been working with each other for 3 years.
I'm going to hit pause and we're going to go find him.
We're coming out, John.